Hello everybody, it is Christine. It is time for a scrapbook process video. And this one is for Stamp and Stencil. Oh gosh, y'all, we changed the name of it and I've forgot what it is, but it's about stamping and stenciling. This month's prompt is to stamp with a watercolor. And there isn't really like direction on the stencil per se. And I was kind of messaging with Miss Tara and I didn't even think about a stencil. And she's like, I don't know if there's about the stencil or whatever. And I'm like, I'm going to use this one, I think, because, and I'll show you why in just a second. But I think I'm going to use this stencil. There's not really per se in the prompt because the watercolor is the prompt. So let me set that aside for a second. The watercolor I have is Rachel Beth Handmade Watercolors. I got it off of Etsy some time back. And it's all these really beautiful metallics. And I'm doing that because the other watercolors I do have these Illustrated Faith ones, but they're a little bit brighter. And I'm afraid if I try to use those with this set that I've got going on here, I'm going to make a hot mess of it. So I'm going to start with this. I think I'm going to end up using, I don't know. Because this is like a copper or something, or bronze. I don't know. Got this all out of whack now. Oh, no, I don't. I do have it in the right stuff. So this is a bronze. But the colors I have is Photo Plays, it says flea market, but I think it's like junk. Beautiful junk or something. I kind of lean toward this copper though, because I think that's going to look really pretty with these. I think I'm going to lean toward the copper. So I'm going to set that aside for a second. And then this was actually Scrap Room Flavors of the Month from January. So I've got this pulled out because I have the photo. What I do with the photo? It's this one. It's my daughter. She was doing like some modeling, and it's kind of this rough and tumble background or whatever, but I thought it would be kind of a pretty juxtaposition against the florals. And then the stamps I just got these. I showed these in my little haul the other day, and it's like these little coffee things. And so I thought this could be a fun, like I said, kind of juxtaposition with that. And then I pulled out from my stash, I have this old Heidi Swap for like a title here. I'm thinking about like Drama Girlie. We'll see. I'm going to set that aside because I have to, this is my main prompt here. And then I have these few little pieces of stuff here. We'll see how I use that. There's little butterflies. This is pretty. Little pretty butterflies there. So I'm going to set all that aside for the moment because I think what I'm going to do is, I got also, so what I pulled out, so the actual Scrap Room Flavors of the Month came with like this cardstock, which is like a, well, what's the color here? Cream Puff. But what I pulled out is actually a Heartfelt Creations cardstock because I think it takes watercolor pretty good. And I kind of wanted to try that with the watercolor. So I may end up doing like I may mat it on the floral like this, perhaps. Although I'm kind of liking this one. I may go with this one because I think that might go with that copper. On the other hand, this one's pretty. There's like nothing wrong with any of this. I'll pick one of these, and I think I'll make it as a matte. The green is the most contrasting, so maybe I'll go with the green. I don't know. Make it with these two. These are also pretty, y'all. Okay, and I think I'm gonna do like a corner photo. Like down here, like with the mixed media and stuff. I may do like a torn, I want to use some torn papers is kind of what I'm imagining. Because this looks like spilled stuff, and it's like kind of this junk journaling type stuff. I do also have this little doily, so that might come up here. Or I might put it down underneath the photo. That might be a really cute way to do that. I'm not certain yet. I have to think on this just a second. Yeah, I'm going to have to think on this just a second. So let me do this. Let me go ahead and cut this down, and I think I'm going to make this my frame. I'll cut this down a little bit, and then I may go ahead and do the mixed media first. Y'all, I got homework, and I got to get myself organized here. I got my little glass mat out here because I'm about to get this all water. I've tried doing some stamping with paint before, and I've not had so much success. So y'all, keep your fingers crossed, and let's see if I can get this done properly. I may end up using different shades, though, because I do have different little things here. And I do have more of this paper, so if I screw it up, it's okay. I have more. So let me do my watercolor here. Maybe I'll trim it down and I'll do the watercolor. I'll be back on in just, well, I'll do the watercolor on camera, but I'll be back on in just a second. Well, y'all, I carried on and on just then, and y'all let me do it. I'm so sorry. Okay, so what I've done is I've cut down the watercolor paper by 3/4 of an inch on each side, and I've gutted the floral because I've decided I'm going to use the floral as a frame and as kind of these 2 corner pieces to kind of anchor the stuff I'm going to do here. So I'm going to tear this up a little bit. I'm going to lay this down, and then I'm going to use some pencils to kind of mark, you know, where the paper's going to end up, because I need to do my little mixed media bits here. Now, I will tell you, I end up doing the stencil first because I had it in my head, if I try to do the stencil on top of the watercolor, it might take too long to dry or this or that. And honestly, y'all, I'm really pleased with how this turned out. I wasn't 100% sure. I tried not too long ago to use one of my distressed crayons as a little bit, kind of like a watercolor, and then stamp with it, and it didn't turn out. So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I had high hopes for this, but I guess this little set of paints is a little more vibrant, or a little more, well, it has texture and stuff to it. It's more like solid or something. Even as a watercolor, it still has some oomph to it. And so it turned out really pretty. I'm not going to lie, I'm really going to like it. I get a kick out of myself sometimes because this particular layout is going to have a real, like, I'm going to use the word grungy, or like really organic feel. It's very, you know, not real structured in a way. I mean, there's structure to it in the sense of, like, I have grounded, the papers are grounded, and there's, a visual triangle or something. I mean, there's stuff like that, but it's not like a grid. It's not like a very linear layout. And so I just find myself, I'll do any kind of style, I guess is my point. I don't even necessarily have a particular one that I love more than others. So I do like this. I think this turns out really pretty. I think I do a good job with these brick stencils. About half the time, if you've watched me, I feel like it turns out too square. And in this case, I think I did a pretty decent job. It looks a little more organic than my squares tend to turn out. So I think this turned out really pretty too. And I like this color. This tea dye is light enough that it's not so like in your face, but it's dark enough to give it a little color. I did try to use it as a shadow not too long ago on a piece of paper, and it wasn't quite dark enough, but this looks really pretty. I think this looks great on this watercolor paper. I was kind of proud of myself for making that choice. I don't always think to use this watercolor paper, and I don't know what made me think of it. I'm like, I got that whole pad over there. So here's me just kind of, like I said, just looking to see where's my paper's going to go and where is my little stencil going to go. And so I'm kind of laying this down. I'm going to start seeing kind of where things are going to end up. And then it's time to pull out the watercolors, you guys. So I pull out the, copper. I think it's the copper. And I like this. I think this turns out really pretty. Although in hindsight, I say that. The little butterflies that come with this little set of embellishments have kind of a gold little body to them, but it's more of a dark matte gold. So it's not the same gold that's in these paints here. So I think it's still okay. I like this copper a lot. So I've got it on the glass mat. I'm going to just kind of dip my stamp in here. And, I chose this kind of stamp on purpose so that if it's not fully covered or whatever with the watercolor, it doesn't look weird. It's kind of got this real, like, if it looks like obviously a coffee cup got set down, so it doesn't have to be completely filled up. And I'm just going to kind of do different directions here, like a set my coffee cup down multiple times kind of deal. And I don't even know how many times I did it now. 5? I guess I do it 5 times. And then I'm going to pull out one of the smaller stamps, and I'm going to put some additional little splatters on there using that same paint. And I'm just kind of still dry fitting this, and I say dry, and I guess I'm trying to make sure I don't push it down too hard, because I think the paint actually dries pretty quick, and I think it's because my paper. But I'm trying this I'm going to do this other stamp now. My photo there, initially I had it printed with a little white border, and I thought I was just going to leave it like that, but I realized the border was kind of uneven. So I will end up eventually trimming off that little white painted border and use an actual white cardstock, and you'll see that. I'll actually also go ahead and double mat it with another little floral. I don't believe I do that on camera, though. I started to use a real bright green and then realized that's going to be too much. So I went back to a little soft floral. So here's that piece here that looks, again, like a little different, splatter. And I'm just going to go a little bit random. I'm just kind of going around the page here. But I am really pleased. I think this turned out great. Like I said, I wasn't terribly confident before I started, but it turns out great. I go ahead and splatter the paint as well, just because, of course, it's all kind of organic and shapeless or whatever. So I've got everything done. It's all dried up pretty quick. Like I said, I'm going to put the papers down kind of where I had the pencil marks. And the one in the bottom, I have to bring them in quite a bit, actually. I started messing with it, and I was going to go out toward the edge a little bit, but I'm like, well, no, you put your stencil and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to do that, but I'm also going to use that little doily, and it's going to kind of ground my photo. And it's going to poke off the bottom of the little paper there. I actually don't do this on camera. I started thinking, I don't know what made me think about it, but after I got off, I was start gluing stuff down. I thought to myself, I'm going to get some string. So I'm going to pull out my, not baker's twine. Well, it's all like a big roll of it, I guess. It's a 3-ply, and I'll end up separating those strands, and I'll use those 3 strands. I'll put those on here as well, but that's not until after I pull out all this ephemera. I only tell you that because, like I said, I didn't do it on camera. And I just glue them down, but you'll see that in just a second. These are little pieces that came in the kit here. I'm going to end up using almost all of them. I don't use the thing that says like, hey friend. It's got a little banner or like green stripes on it. I don't use that. I end up not using the little oval piece that says hello. I'll mess with it just a little bit, but I don't end up using that. And there's a little yellow looking postage, where the flowers are on there are yellow. The little bright yellow postage stamp looking thing. I don't end up using that. And I think that's the only 3 things I don't use. I did pull out this thing that looks like a frame, like a double frame, and that's going to go behind the photo, although at the end of it, you won't be able to tell it's actually a double frame. It's going to hide the middle piece. So this little piece right here goes on the left-hand side in a second. I'm kind of messing with these. I was trying to figure out how can I use these 2 little oval pieces, but they don't go in, that's not going to go in the upper top piece there. I'm going to end with on the left-hand side. I do like this Enjoy Every Moment. It's got that pretty butterfly. Like I said, the hello I don't end up using. This is when I decide I better get the title out because I want to make sure I can fit that on that upper piece up there. And I'd forgotten this isn't stickers. It's like little acetate pieces that pop out. And so I'm going to end up using my Nuvo glue, but it works good. You can't see it. I put it on the back side of the cream letter piece so you can't see it through the clear. There's a clear acetate around the letters. This is such an old piece here. I think I got this at one of the very first expos I ever went to. Back when Heidi Swap was like all over the place, and I bought these little titles here, and I really like them. I like the cream color. I don't know why I don't use them very often. I guess because I forget about them. Here's this little piece here. It's got like a little, I don't know what that is, some kind of little card, and it says details. I'm going to put those 2 little postage stamps on there. Now you can see the little strings I took and glued. Here's where I'm gluing it down. I took that string and kind of separated the 3 pieces. And I've got a piece in the upper right there and a piece on the lower left. And then I also added a little piece that says adventure on the top of the little torn paper at the top up there. You can kind of see that. I think I told you guys this photo was just when my daughter was modeling. She was back at college. I believe this photo was taken in Oklahoma City, if I'm not mistaken. And I think it's neat. I like the texture. I like the contrast of that blue jacket against the background. I think it's a really neat photo. And she's kind of leaning and got that, modelly looking pose or whatever. So I enjoy that. Here's the little butterflies that came with the kit. And I'm going to put those in my little visual triangle. And that is basically it, you guys. I'm going to slow this down. I want you to kind of see the shine of the paint, because you can see the shimmer on the paint that I used. And then also you'll see the shine of the letters in just a second. But look at that shimmer on that paint. Isn't that so pretty? I love this paint, actually. And that is my layout, you guys. Make sure you check out the, I don't know if it's a playlist or a list. I'm so sorry. I get confused sometimes because we have different ways of doing it. But down below will be a description so you can go see the other ladies that are playing along. I know there's a lot of people going, oh gosh, the first is already a Saturday. So it may not be as long a list as usual, but there's still multiple people playing along. So like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Bye.